Thank you for downloading this podcast from the British Theatre Guide. For more information about British Theatre Guide, please visit britishtheatreguide.info.
I am sitting in a rather comfortable dressing room at the Vaudeville Theatre with posters on the wall for the likes of Lauren Bacall, Glenda Jackson, Peter Ustinov and Peter O'Toole. I'm with a star of equal stature, Henry Shields from Mischief Theatre, who are the company behind The Play That Goes Wrong and so much more. Really, he's lived the dream. Every child probably dreams of going to drama school. Not everyone makes it there. Coming out, doing a bit of improv work with some friends, writing a play, finding that play, managed to get into a theatre, then gets to Edinburgh, tours around the country, goes off to the West End, then Broadway, and then spawns lots of other plays. So you're living the dream. How does it feel?
Feels pretty good. You've summed it up quite well there. I think that's my entire CV done. Well done.
Okay, well, let's see if we can do it in a little more detail, possibly, if that would be okay. At the moment, you're just rehearsing for Groan Ups, which opens next week. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're in previews now. We've opened the show, but we have the official opening for press on the 10th of October. Groan Ups is a new play all about growing up. So you follow 5 characters from the age of 6 through to 14 and then 30 in 3 different acts. And it's all about the things that change as we get older and the things that stay the same and how our past affects who we become. And all of our shows, it's probably the one that is the most complex and is certainly the most ambitious story we've ever tried to tell.
And as always, it's been co-written with Henry Lewis and Jonathan Sayer.
Yeah, the 3 of us have written all the Mischief shows so far.
And starred in all of them?
And starred in all of them. So far, we like to write ourselves the good parts. That's the best way to get them. Saves auditioning. Yeah.
And this is part of a season at the Vaudeville, so do you want to explain a little more about that?
It is, yeah. So we've got a sort of residency here at the Vaudeville for at least a year, starting with Groan Ups, and then in December we're going to change over to our second show, Magic Goes Wrong, which is in the same vein as Play That Goes Wrong and Peter Pan. And then there are plans to do a third show, although we have not yet written it. So that will happen at some point next year, or possibly the year after, depending on other commitments, what we have time to do. But until that one happens, Magic or Groan Ups will be in this theatre. And
the Vaudeville, you're suggesting potentially you could have an option for longer?
Yeah, I think so. It will depend on how these shows go, but it's an IMAX theatre, and IMAX own the Duchess, where Play That Goes Wrong is, so we have a very good relationship with them. They like us, we like them, and we're all having a lovely time working together. So I think as long as the shows are selling well, hopefully they will just keep us here. I can't really I can't promise that on their behalf, but they've been very positive about it. And the hope is we would just stay here, keep these 2 shows running, probably alternating them or keeping one running longer than the other until the third show is ready to happen and go in. But it's all quite far away, so anything can happen.
And Magic, I think, is billed as being with Penn and Teller, the American American magicians by this stage.
Yeah. We've written it with them, and at the moment they make a very brief video cameo in the show, so they don't actually have to be there every night. Because they're in Vegas. But we've spent the last year and a half writing it with them. We've been over to Vegas for a couple of months. They've been great fun to work with, very, very interesting guys, and they've obviously just got such a huge amount of experience and this hugely long career they've had working in every different facet of performance. So they have been fantastic, yeah, and it's been really interesting merging their magic with our comedy. It's good. It's a fun blend. And we tried that show out in Manchester and it went down pretty well, so feeling pretty confident.
Do you get to conjure?
I do a bit. Penn taught me some basic card magic. I do a bit of dove production, which is some tricky stuff. And we've got a few big illusions that are from Penn and Teller's sort of old catalogue of their tricks they used to do. So we've learnt a lot of how to do magic, and we've learnt a lot of the secrets, actually, behind how magic's done, which has been a real treat. And I can now do some very, very basic card tricks. Yeah.
And cutting people in half?
Exactly that. We do cut someone in half in the show. Good guess. Yeah, we do that particular trick. Yeah, we cut a woman in half.
Have to wait till the end of the year to see that one, I think, or beginning of next year. Let's try back. You said that you're having great fun. That's really encouraging, because you got together originally at least a dozen years ago.
Was it that long? Maybe 10 years ago. Maybe. Well, we all went to the same drama school.
Which was Lambda.
Lambda, yeah, that's right. And we were in different years, but we all met up to do improv together at the weekends. And basically any free moment we had, we were working on improv because we were just all obsessed with it. And created our show Lights, Camera, Improvise, which is now called Mischief Movie Night, and toured the UK last year and is one of the other fun things we like to do. And yeah, it was a love of improv that really brought us together. But then when we left drama school, me, Henry Lewis and John Sayer were living together at the time, and we started writing scripted things together to try and put together a scripted show. And that the first thing we wrote was The Play That Goes Wrong. And we've never really had any trouble since then. I mean, touch wood, but our company has been very solid. There's about 10 of us, 10 to 12 people in the whole thing, and everybody gets along really well, and we all still like each other all these years later.
That's fantastic. No Shakespeare or anything like that? Did you have ambitions that way, or you're very happy?
I'd love to do a Shakespeare. No one's offered me it yet. Unfortunately, I think I'm probably putting myself in a different casting bracket with all these shows I'm doing. The more silly, ridiculous comedies I do, the less likely it is I'll be invited to do a Shakespeare. I don't know, maybe a Midsummer Night's Dream.
Shakespeare could always go wrong.
It could. Shakespeare could go wrong. We have vague ideas of doing an episode of The Goes Wrong show, the TV version, based on a Shakespeare going wrong. That could happen. We have a very rough script of that, in fact, that we haven't used. Yeah, but that might be a way of getting into Shakespeare, just doing it ourselves with our own brand. Yeah.
Originally, you wrote The Play That Goes Wrong, and presumably you were desperately hoping that some theatre might be willing to take it, and The Old Red Lion was the one that did?
Yes, Old Red Lion took it. I can't remember exactly how he got in there. I know Henry Lewis, who's the director of the company, had put on shows there before, so he had a good relationship with the owner of the theatre and the theatre manager. So I think it wasn't too hard to get in there. It's not the most exclusive theatre in London. It's a pub theatre. It's very nice. I love it there. But it's a little 50-seater. And yeah, so we got it on there, and then it gradually sort of grew over the course of about a year, going from, we were at the Old Red Lion and then Trafalgar Studios, then we had a UK tour, then Edinburgh was in there as well. And in Edinburgh, actually, we started at the Pleasance, I think we were in Pleasance Below, and then we did a couple of nights at Pleasance Beyond, which was sort of double the capacity, and it just sort of kept growing and growing until we did the tour, and then eventually the West End, then Broadway, then... Blah, 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 blah.
And when you started out, you presumably can remember back that far, what was your expectation? Was it just you were delighted with the Old Red Lion and thought that'll be it, or did you think, well, Broadway's bound to happen, TV series, the works?
No, I wish I was that prescient. It was just the Old Red Lion. We were having a really good time there, and it was only ever about trying to make people laugh and getting as many people in as we could and trying to put on as good a show as we could. We never had any huge grand plans for the future. The way it's all worked out has been fantastic, but it's all been a complete surprise, really. I think if we'd started out aiming to make it to Broadway, we probably wouldn't have created as good work. I don't think that's a good mindset to be in when you're trying to create theatre. So our goal was always to just make as high quality stuff as we could, make it as funny as it could be, as many laughs as you could possibly get out of an hour was the goal. And anything else was just a bonus.
What about the scaling up? You started off with the Old Red Lion, which, for people who haven't seen it, is absolutely tiny. I don't think that's unfair. Probably less than 50 seats, I should think.
I think it's 45 seats, but I remember on a few nights we had sold well, so we crammed 70 people in and had them sit on the stairs.
On the stage, I should think.
Yeah, so basically on the stage. I think if anyone had known about that at the time, we would not have passed health and safety regulations.
I came in late because I didn't see it until it got to Edinburgh, and it must have scaled up reasonably for there, because I would imagine I was sitting with maybe a couple of hundred people or something by then. Yeah,
you would have seen it, Pleasance Below. I think it was about 150, 180 seats, something like that. So it had scaled up, but the show was very much the same at that point as it had been at the Old Red Lion. It hadn't changed hugely, but we'd been to Trafalgar Studios there, so we'd honed things and made it a lot tighter.
And what about for the West End? Did that change your collective mindset, really, because it's the three of you plus sort of plus 8 or so friends, yeah. Did it change completely when you went to the West End? Did you have to, I hate to say take it seriously because I'm sure that you were, but did you change?
Did we change? Not in the slightest bit, no. We still do not take it seriously at all. I think that's quite an important part of how we work as a company. It's all about having fun and being silly. We play a lot of games backstage. We muck about a lot. Just in this show, actually, in Groan Ups, there's a scene where one of the actors, Bryony, has to enter and do a speech from the door. But because of the way the set's built, there's a wall that masks all the other actors, so that within her eye line, so we can all stand and she can see us while she's doing her speech out to the audience, but obviously the audience can't see us. So we just try and put her off as much as we possibly can, just making faces and doing stupid things. Because, that's the kind of thing that makes it fun. It's the grease that keeps the wheels turning. That's the phrase I always use. You've got to muck about.
This could be why you haven't played Hamlet yet.
Yeah, they don't let you do that stuff in Hamlet. It's why the Royal Court never let me in, and the RSC, nobody calls because they know that I'll just muck about and move all their props.
And I was going to say franchising, which is probably completely the wrong way of expressing it, but you started off, everything you've opened has been the three of you. Then you've had shows running simultaneously, which meant that the three of you couldn't actually perform in two shows at the same time. Well, you probably could, but chose not to. Was that a big step?
Yeah, there was the point where we recast The Play That Goes Wrong was very odd, but we got in a lot of people from the company that hadn't been in the original production. So it was a lot of people we knew and really trusted, all the people that we'd been to drama school with and were close friends with, so that we had a real hand on the quality of the show. So it felt very safe. It felt like we were leaving it in good hands, and we were. They did really well, and it was a very successful recast. And now we're at a position where there's maybe 4 or 5 casts going around the country or in London, and that's not counting the different countries, and there's the US tour. So there's so many people doing the show in so many different ways and different places that you just sort of have to move on. I think we don't feel like we have that much control as we used to, but it's okay. I think you have to put a lot of faith in the directors and the associate directors who are looking after those things.
And you said overseas, you kind of Americanized it a little bit for Broadway, but not massively, I'd say.
Broadway, I mean, it certainly got bigger. I think that was the thing about Broadway, that American audiences, as well as the fact that the theatre was bigger, I think audiences there respond to larger performances in a way. They're more used to things being big and bold and brash. So a lot of the subtlety and nuance maybe had to be expanded into a more in-your-face American style. That's certainly stuff, without wanting to be mean, a lot of stuff did just go over their heads a bit when it was that subtle British, stiff, upper lip kind of humour, which is just it's so particular to here, I think. That's all it is, and not something they're familiar with. Did
that mean that you were rewriting on the hoof?
Not rewriting. It was mostly performance. I think we kept the script pretty much exactly the same. There was a lot of discussion about whether we should change things, but we ended up just saying, no, let's do the show exactly as it is in the script, keep that the same, and just try and reach people in a different way. Obviously, we had to remove any reference to pantomime. That was the only thing. That there's quite a lot of panto references in the UK, but they did not understand what that meant in the slightest bit.
And it sounds as if you pretty much perfected the script right at the start, because it feels like the kind of show that you can make minor tweaks to forever intending to improve it, possibly improving it, possibly making it worse.
Yeah, we spent the first year making changes to the script. A lot of changes, and particularly the UK tour, first tour, we were rewriting the entire time. That's the way it is with comedy. Everybody says that you're never really done writing a comedy show. You can keep writing it and rewriting it forever if you want to drive yourself mad doing it. But we don't let ourselves rewrite Play That Goes Wrong anymore. We have to just accept it. It is what it is. We can't go in and make changes because it just gets infuriating for the actors at this stage.
And having come up with the perfect show or the near perfect show, you then found yourselves in a position where there must have been clearly demand, probably from your producers, possibly from theatres, possibly from the world, for something different. So how did that all happen? Was it just you did bow to pressure, or you were saying right from the start, this is only one thing we're going to do a dozen more in time?
Now, it's funny that you say that. That's actually really the opposite of what it was. It wasn't producers and theatres saying, now do something different. It was theatres and producers all saying, please do more of the same, because that sells. Keep doing more of that. Understandably, that's their job, is to try and find a thing that sells and put more of it out there. And we were always the ones saying, yeah, okay, but we would like to do something different. We would like to show that we have more range, we have some scope. So that's where Comedy About a Bank Robbery came from a desire to do something utterly different, and where Groan Ups has come from. But while we love doing different things, and we want to always show our range, and we want to always be evolving, we don't ever want to be repeating ourselves. Whilst that's true, we're also doing Magic Goes Wrong, because there is still so much more to be mined out of the Goes Wrong stuff, and we always make sure we are never repeating ourselves. We never do the same joke twice. It is a very, very rich ground for comedy. And it's the thing that people love and the thing that people know us best for. So we will keep doing the Goes Wrong stuff as long as we can keep it interesting and keep it new. But at the same time, we will always be putting out new stuff that keeps us sane and happy.
I love the idea that when you're in your 80s, you'll still be, the trio of you will still be coming on stage with the same 7 supporting people doing Old Age Goes Wrong or whatever.
Yeah, it's possible, isn't it? I mean, when you put it like that, it sounds a bit like a nightmare. When we're all 80, doing the same thing, the same jokes in the same way. No, but yeah, I mean, I would love to still be working with the company. You know, by the time I'm 80, that would be a dream, really, to still be doing stuff together and still be friends. If it's still original, then we'll still be doing the Goes Wrong stuff. If I'm honest, I can't imagine it would. I don't know if that rich the crowd. I don't know if there's enough Goes Wrong stuff to last the next 50 years, but we'll see.
What about the other media? So you kind of sprung out into TV in a small way to start with, I'd express it, and then you're about to go big. So it'd be interesting to hear about that.
Yeah, well, it's all the Goes Wrong stuff is where we're going with TV. The thinking behind that was we had a lot of meetings with different production companies and with different channels talking about what the TV projects were that we should do. We have a lot of different ideas. We pitched various different things. But what it came down to was a desire to do the Goes Wrong thing first, which we all completely understood. That's the thing we're known for. That's the way we should get into the new medium. By doing something that people can recognise, and then we'd hopefully have the freedom to move into other stuff. So we started with Peter Pan Goes Wrong on TV, then Christmas Carol Goes Wrong, and now we're about to start the Goes Wrong show, which is a 6-part sitcom, six episodes, and each week is a different genre of play going wrong, and we'll do that. And if people like that, we'll do more of that. And if people like all of that, then we'll do something else.
Feature films? Hollywood?
Yeah. Waiting for someone to call, but yeah, that would be nice.
Still waiting for someone to call? You haven't had the call yet?
Well, we've had a couple of meetings with people, and they've said, we'd love to do something. But I think the film industry is just a completely different world where there are so many thousands of people pitching ideas every day all over the world. Everybody wants to make a movie that it would just be a completely different thing to try and break into. We've got some ideas for one day doing a film. We'd also need the time to do it. But one day, maybe J.J. Abrams can help us out. He's a friend. I don't know. He's probably busy.
And you've talked about sticking together as a team, and you have now been together for 10 years. Yeah. You're all happy to continue doing that by the sound of it. Is there any kind of thought that you might go off in separate directions? No, by the sound of it.
I think we would all like to have our own little strands that, sort of like what Monty Python did, where, they all had their own avenues they went down. But I think we wouldn't want to split apart. We like working together as a group. Everyone would just like their own side projects. But it's tricky because we all get along so well. And the blessing and the curse is that we've been working together for so long now, in such close quarters, it's so intimately, and so it's been so absorbing of our entire lives that all of us don't really have any other friends now. So we have some, but no one we know anywhere near as well as the people in the company. So our work life has become our personal social life. So if I was to go off on my own and do another project, I'd be incredibly lonely because I don't have any other mates. They are all here in the theatre, so we're trapped. We've created our own prison of friends.
And you never get to the point where you hate each other and just wish you were apart?
Not yet. No. Weirdly, we all get along. It's become. I would say it's tipped over now and has started to become more like a family than a friendship group. And it's like that with a family, like I have brothers and sisters, and it gets to a point where you can just spend forever knowing each other and in each other's lives. You get so used to each other that they're built in, and it's like that with this company. everybody's so woven into each other's lives that I can't really imagine not having them there anymore.
So it's even more of a dream than I painted at the beginning, because not only have you got the dream career that I would imagine anyone at drama school would take immediately, except possibly the next Phoebe Waller-Bridge, because you're not yet writing a James Bond movie.
No, I'm not yet, but that would be nice.
The offer's on the table, is it? Pretty much.
Yeah, waiting. I mean, as soon as Phoebe Waller-Bridge is out the way, I'll be in there. I am working on a few projects of my own, sort of separate to Mischief, like a sitcom that I'm writing on my own, or writing with a partner.
Is that a stage sitcom or TV or
it's
undecided?
TV, a TV sitcom that's very different to anything Mischief's done. It's provisionally titled Stella and Marie. It's about two women, a female-led comedy, and it's much more adult in tone than anything Mischief's done. So I don't think it would fit in the Mischief in the Mischief wheelhouse, really. So if it gets anywhere, it will be something I pursue separately to Mischief, which I'm quite excited about. It would be nice to do something different.
Are you talking to production companies about that yet?
Yeah, I actually have a meeting with a production company tomorrow, and I've got a couple next week, and so a lot of people are interested in it. I don't know if it'll ever go anywhere. It's the way of it with TV, that sometimes things just fizzle out of nowhere. Projects can be 6 months, a year, 2 years into development, and then just suddenly disappear. So I'm not going to get my hopes up, but I like it a lot.
And would you expect to be acting in that, or would that be another diversion, a new way?
I've written a part that I could play. I don't know whether I should. It's a strange thing when you're writing and acting and stuff, that occasionally you write things and think, well, I could do this, but there's probably someone out there who could do it better. Unless I really make it like perfectly tailored to me, there's always another actor out there who can do that exact thing slightly better than you can. So I don't know whether I would want to cast myself or do the better thing and cast someone else. I don't know. I'll probably just do it myself. Be greedy.
And what other kind of projects have you got lined up, either collectively or individually?
Well, individually, I've got, like I say, that sitcom, and then I'm working on a lot of other writing projects. I'm writing a movie with a friend, and I'm actually writing a musical of my own, which is very exciting. But like I say, they're all very early days, and it's hard to develop stuff when you're also developing all this stuff with Mischief. It's hard to find the time. But Mischief is, like, we've got this TV series coming out, and we hope there'll be a second series to that. There's sort of talk about it. Nothing absolutely confirmed yet, but it would be very nice if that was to happen. And we've got these shows this season here. There's talk of going to Broadway with Peter Pan Goes Wrong. We're pretty much booked up for the next couple of years. So fitting anything else in is a challenge, but we'll try.
And you're an actor, so you're supposed to spend 90% of your time or more resting. Yeah. When was the last time that you rested? Can you remember?
I had 5 days off this year, and that is the only 5 days I will have this year, where I very briefly went to France. It was great. And then next year I have another week off planned. That's about all I manage. Don't get weekends anymore, that doesn't happen. So literally 5 days, it's hard.
And does the job feel like a holiday in any way, or is it just hard grind?
It has its ups and downs. I don't think it never feels like a holiday. That would be the wrong word to use. But it's never not fun. You know, it's always interesting, it's always exciting. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun. I mean, like I say, the hours are pretty punishing, so it has to be fun, or everyone would just immediately quit. But it is great. You know, I'm doing something that is really exciting and interesting and always challenging every day. There's a new problem to figure out. There's a new gap to fill in the show, something that's not working, a joke that isn't funny. We need a new laugh here. We need to figure out why this scene change is taking so long and speed it up. You know, there's always something. It's always good.
I wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun. What a great way to finish. Amy Shields, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much. It was very nice to be with you.
You've been listening to a podcast from British Theatre Guide. For more information, please visit britishtheatreguide.info.